Good afternoon, everyone. It's about 14 minutes past 2, so we will just give everyone a moment or two to join. We'll start shortly.
Hey, testing, testing.
Heard you loud and clear. Hello, Johan.
I thank you. Thank you. Just wanted to make sure.
Okay, we're just going to give it, say, a minute or so more, than we can start, just to give everyone else a chance to join. Okay.
Will do so.
Okay. Welcome everybody to Brainframe Thursday. This is the first Brainframe for 2025. We're super excited to talk to you today about cyber tools, what's going on, and what can we do in the world of cybersecurity. So welcome from myself, Vanessa Maresh, and Johann van Rooyen. We will be your presenters today. The session is scheduled for roughly an hour. We'll try to be a bit shorter so we still allow time for Q&A. You are, however, welcome to unmute yourself and ask a question or raise your hand, and we will attend to your question or comment. Otherwise, leave it for the Q&A. You will also receive a copy of the recording for later review if you do miss something. And then please do remember at the end we will have a feedback form that we'll share with you to kindly indicate if there are any follow-up steps or next steps, and also just to review our session. So I thank you in advance for for completing that. So I think without further ado, I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Johann van Rooyen. He'll do a quick introduction, and then he's going to take you through some really interesting stuff as we know what's going on in the country with regards to cybercrime. Our content today is very topical. So over to you, Johann.
Vanessa, sorry about that. I lost connection there for a while. So I sorry about that. For the last minute, I was off. Can you
No
quickly
problem.
just go through the last minute or so what you were talking about?
Sorry, I was just saying that you are going to be taking us through some very pertinent content with regards to cybersecurity. And yeah, and then I was just handing over to you.
Righty. Just hold on a second. So, my presentation is today about advanced threat protection, um, and advanced threat detection techniques. Um, so to just give us a short description before I jump into that is regarding as IT evolves, we have a situation where we started off with security in very basic forms. It was antivirus and an edge firewall, and then a username and password. That was it. That was what um, advanced threat protection or threat protection or security was. But as time went by, we realized that um, how applications are developed, also moving into the cloud, having things like hybrid cloud and so forth, made life quite a bit more complex. And if some of you can remember the older days, we had maybe 5 or 6 different products, and that was it. That was what IT was all about. Where today we are now running multiple different security products, not to mention all our different finance products, CRM products, HR products, debits and credit, score logging systems, asset management. So things just got more and more complex as the years went by. So I just want to quickly share my screen here for all of us to see. And Vanessa, you must just tell me if I'm on the right direction here and if you are seeing the right screen there.
It's coming, it's coming. It's off to Ireland and back again. There we go. Okay, we can see. Thank you. If anyone can't see, please let us know. Pop it in the chat.
All right, so I don't see anything. I'll start then going on. So the future of cybersecurity, where are we and where are we going? So as I said, as cyber threats evolve, traditional security measures are becoming insufficient. Advanced threat detection techniques are crucial to identify sophisticated threats, and the complexity of different threats working together actually to create an outcome or a situation which is then beneficial to hackers. So an enhanced understanding of the modern detection methods and strategies is needed to move into a more advanced way of threat detection. So what was the basics? This is pretty much, I want to say, the beginning 2000s and 90s. Traditional antivirus, you had your Norton antivirus or Symantec or Trend Micro. You know, I think some of us remember the good old days. You just install a antivirus on your machine. You would have in a company something like an edge firewall. The difference was between your company and the internet. That was it. There was the only that firewall. And then on-prem server hardening is a process that some of us are familiar with, where you have to harden your server, uninstall unnecessary features and applications, make sure the registry is protected, and make sure the server, we at one point spoke about one server, one function, is what on-prem server hardening was. Then basic user security, usernames, password via company structures. So this will be username passwords and normal Active Directory groups connected to folders for certain departments to access certain folders. The problem with that is before we go on, the problem with that is today you have things like credential elevation, where you jump from one user account where that can elevate another user's account that you jump to again to get better access into your network. Social engineering is also one of them that really made the cybersecurity landscape difficult and complex. So the first thing is you need to know your site, you need to know your company, and you need to know the behavioral analysis to move from normal, or if I say conventional threat detection, to advanced threat detection. So the baseline behavior is where you establish the normal behavior patterns of users and systems. This is important that you know what actually happens on a day-to-day basis when there's no problems. This will be things like, is your network functioning properly? Do you have a lot of ups and downs on your network Wi-Fi? What is the daily behavior in a normal work environment?
Johann, we've lost you. Just bear with us 1 second. We seem to have a little glitch.
No, sorry, did I lose?
Yes, we were just gone for like the last minute.
All right. I've heard the beep in the background, so I didn't go on. I just want to make sure I'm going to do a quick reverse. So we were at the baseline behavior. We have to establish the baseline behavior of how your systems and users behave. And then from there on go to anomaly detection. What exactly is changing in the network? So what you do is you have your baseline, then you have your anomaly detection. So what is not normal if something happens? And this is very important to do this with something like a core logging system, or at least record pen and paper. That 5 February was a good day, 6 February was not a good day, and we had certain issues. From that, you can detect the unknown threats and insider threats. That starts to give you an idea of what to do. Examples is user and entity behavior. So let's speak about behavioral analysis when you start looking at applications and user behavior. A good example would be you can look at Darktrace as a product as well. There's quite a few in the market now, whereby this product detects it doesn't detect viruses, but it detects the anomalies happening. So let's take example the finance, your finance department. Use Sage and Pastel. I'm going to take an example. Sage and Pastel would be running on 5 of your finance departments and the people inside of the department. These applications would be open during the day, and this is a normal behavior. What is not a normal behavior is when all of a sudden these applications are being used by, let's say, the security department. Why are they opening financial products and financial applications all of a sudden? That's a unknown behavior and a strange behavior. And this is where we come to advanced threat detection, is where it's not always viruses, it's not always hacking, it's not malware, but it's insider threats where strange behaviors starts happening on certain machines, and it's unknown for that user to use that product. Now, the part where this becomes complex is it might be not even the user opening up that applications. It is a malware opening it up, but the malware doesn't damage your system. It just uses certain resources within your system. So machine learning and AI is where we are starting to move to. And I think we've heard a lot about AI, and we have learned machine learning. But this is behavioral analysis that's needed to see changes happening within your network. The days of just having antivirus and thinking that's going to protect you is very quickly disappearing. AI is in the state where you can detect anomalies without prior knowledge of any threats. It will check at behavior. Supervised learning is where it takes the baseline as it learns to see what is normal and what is not. The advantages is that this can scale to large data volumes, geographical systems as well, all over your WAN links, to start seeing, to start detecting certain threats. Remember now, if we look at Namibia, your IT guys are normally sitting in Windhoek. They are not in Oshakati when a threat is being detected there, which AI can now assist with, and actually scan your network on a continuous basis to see the behavioral analysis changing. So examples of these products is AI-powered intrusion detection systems and threat intelligence platforms. Microsoft has quite a few of this. Intune, I think Vanessa, you can tell us quite a bit more about Intune, how Intune can also detect behavioral analysis on your machine. So I'm going to give an example where your work PC, when it's, let's say, from 8 to 5, you would use Word and you would use certain email products. But when you get home, all of a sudden games are opening. So let's imagine your children are now on your machine, which they shouldn't be. So Intune and some of the other Microsoft products can actually detect the behavior of this machine changing the way it normally works. I've mentioned Darktrace as well, and the more and more AI is becoming, how can I say, easy to use, accessible to everyone, these products are changing constantly to detect these behavioral analysis and behavioral patterns. So how do these AI products work? We are moving into a state where information about known threats and vulnerabilities are being fed into threat intelligence feeds, where Microsoft, Fortinet, Darktrace will work together to have certain feeds on the internet to basically, in basic terms, the one would say, hey, we detected this funny thing. They write let's call it a document about this and said, we detected this. We're not sure if this is a problem. Now, let's say Microsoft wrote this feed, Fortinet and Checkpoint would immediately know about this. So this puts them in a situation to also work together with other companies to figure out if this is a threat or not. So part of that is the correlation engines, where we have integrated data with different sources to identify patterns and potential threats. Pretty much the internet, we always say the world is a small place. The internet is becoming smaller as well, where companies are now working together. Your antivirus companies are working together. Your security companies are working together, and they are starting to share databases of data of these threats happening in real time. The reason for this intelligence and correlation to do this is when threats are being maliciously deployed, it's not deployed all over the world. They, most of the time, and I can almost say 80% of the time, target a certain geographical location. So they would target Europe on the 7th of February. By the 9th, they target the IP block of the United States. And by this time, Europe and America already have correlation engines and intelligence feeds on databases. By the time, let's say, Southern Africa is being attacked, it's already known. And there's already something like what we call a 0-day visibility. So we have a 0-day attack. Nobody knows the fix yet, but it might be that we already know how to stop it with certain workarounds. And this has become very important right over the world to have this correlation happening. So the advantages is actually what I explain now via geographical locations. Examples is the SIEM engines, SOC and SIEM engines, that's now correlating all over the world, so that I always want to say it's like a tattletale. The one will pretty much gossip to say we have this, and the next guy would have that information. And before word comes around, he already knows about it. So it's almost like in a schoolyard tattletale situation that we're looking at. So where to start your transition? So the challenge for IT companies, service providers, and system and security administrators is we are at the basic threat intelligence. How do we move to the advanced threat intelligence? So knowing AI and all of this is nice, but it's kind of like one of these things. How does step 1 to 10 look like? How do we move towards advanced threat detection? So your on your networking step is where you would start looking at a zero trust network. So a zero trust network is where you move away, where the firewall in the basic terms was a edge firewall, so it protects you only against the internet. So company, inside people, internet, outside threats. Those were the two. Moving to a zero trust network is where the firewall becomes the central hub of your network. So internet is untrusted. Your users are also not being trusted. They're being seen as threats inside of the company to your resources. So nobody is trusted. There's a zero trust. So everything would have a sort of authentication. You can't just connect from PC to server. You will always be authenticated in a version of MFA, of 2FA. And so what we always say is don't trust anyone. not even your internal people. That is also being seen as a threat, not because you don't trust the people, but it might be those PCs, laptops, tablets move outside of the network, gets exposed. Now you're moving back into the network. Now you've opened up the door for Pandora's box. So that's one of the steps for system administrators. Antivirus, you transition from your traditional AV to XDR. XDR applications now, most antivirus products out there will already speak to you about this and will already have some sort of a path for you to move to that from traditional AV to XDR. So if you're a system administrator, make contact with either us at Salt or make contact directly with your antivirus vendor. If you're not sure about the transition, you can always speak to us as well on your antivirus to transition to XDR. So let's take this in steps. We have our firewall done. We have our antivirus done. The next one is your logs. Use your current products to centrally manage all your logs on your network. So what you will do is your switches, firewall, PCs, antivirus will all be moved to a central location for logs, which will then be used for the following: AI to correlate those logs and see if there's a problem within your network, and this builds your baseline of your whole environment. Secondly, if there's issues, to take that and forward that on to, most of the time, your antivirus vendors, so that they are aware what threats has been happening in your network or in your regional location, which gives them insight to fix certain things on your network, but also assist other people. So it really becomes a sharing is caring environment. So those are the three basic steps. So in conclusion, advanced threat techniques, including behavioral analysis, machine learning, and threat intelligence, are essential for moving forward in a modern cybersecurity world. The future outlook: ongoing advancements will further enhance capability to detect and mitigate these sophisticated threats. Call to action: stay informed by emerging techniques and continuously integrate them into your security strategy. Yes, unfortunately, security will be ever evolving. It's not going to stop. As it changes on the internet, you will need to adapt within your network as well to stay ahead of the curve. And that is about what I can tell you about advanced threat detection techniques. This was a short presentation. There's a lot more on this, but we have to always start somewhere. And that's why I said, if we can start with these three, then we have a transition path going forward in the future. And Vanessa, that is it for my presentation. I really hope this gives some insight to everyone on this call.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Johann. That was really short and sweet. That's what we do here at Brainframe Thursdays. We keep it short and sweet because we want, we can always engage to have a longer conversation or a meeting or a demo or a POC or a further discussion afterwards. But we know that, you know, in the short time we have available to us every day, we'd like to just keep it to the point. So thank you very much for that. That was an excellent presentation. Before I jump into my section, I want to ask your opinion on something. We've sort of had loose conversations about this, but it's come up in quite a few of the cybersecurity awareness training sessions that we've recently hosted. There's quite a bit of confusion on it. And I wanted to, you as an expert, I wanted to have just your input on it. So when we used to do the cybersecurity awareness training, and people would always used to ask us about the cookies. Are the cookies safe or are the cookies not safe? And I know that you have, you've always, you were quite clear in your doubts of the cookies, or the cookies aren't really safe. But I mean, what I'm saying as safe and what you meaning as safe, I think come from a different perspective. And then I was really sad to learn that the cyber criminals have now taken it to the next level, and it's now cookie hacking or session hacking going on. So although obviously what cookies are for is they retain your details, so that there's benefits to it. That's for essential for a lot of web functions, like keeping you logged in and remembering your preferences. So we like to actually accept the cookies, and we constantly get to ask to accept the cookies. But then, based on this other conversation, there's now this serious cookie hacking, session hacking going on. Can you maybe give us just 2 minutes on that before I go on? Because I know a lot of people might be wondering still about, are the cookies safe or not?
All right. So, yeah, me being in security and trying to be private as much as possible, I would start off by saying, no, I don't like the cookies. I don't like them. Maybe in the real world as well, because they make you fat. But leaving that there, look, the good, and you touched on it. The good and the bad thing about cookies is the following. It's doing the same as writing on a piece of paper on your desk. In the sense of there is a paper lying, you're quickly writing 10 o'clock meeting with XYZ, phone number, this and this and this. 2 minutes later, you grab another piece of paper, tomorrow doing this and this and this, picking up my child at this, dropping her off at X, Y, and Z. By the end of the day, looking at your table, everybody knows exactly where you are. Grabbing those, now here comes the hijacking. Grabbing those papers, knowing where your child will be dropped off and where your child is currently, starts to become, in the real world, quite a bit of a problem, isn't it? If somebody really wants to be malicious, they can look at these papers on your desk and go, oh, right, okay, this is where he is, this is where his child is, I can hijack his child. I'm giving that as a very extreme example, but this is the problem with cookies is a trail of what you do on the internet. Now, the good thing about it is we are trying to work quicker, we're trying to work more efficient, and those cookies can make life easier to re-log into a site that you log in daily. The other big use of cookies is advertising. We know the situation where you just Googled the newest mascara, and the next moment Facebook just keeps on popping up with this newest mascara. So the use for it is supposed to be good. But because it keeps information, these are things that hackers can use in their advantage. Having information on your machine can be good or bad. That's unfortunately the problem. It's the same with cars. Cars are a good thing. When cars were developed, it made life quite a bit easier to get from A to B. What was the next thing about cars? Speeding, accidents. It's unfortunate. Yeah. Then seatbelts came, and it's a constantly evolving situation. That's why cookies today is being, they are trying to do cybersecurity awareness by each and every website that uses cookies will actually give you a agree or not agree, and sometimes it just informs you this site has cookies and is being downloaded to your machine, and if you don't want it, you need to go out to the site. Or the good way is to do a practice where you do clean up the cookies on a periodic basis, periodically, month, week, depends on you. And you can actually exclude certain cookies so that you make your life easier. So if you work on Sage every day, exclude that. And that is something that we, as in the modern IT era, users, not just administrators, but users, we all will have to get used to securing ourselves on our web browsers. Also there where you go on history, there is
Okay,
where we,
okay.
yeah,
There, okay. I was
yeah,
wondering, it's good to know where to go.
yeah. So those are not always just cookies, that's history, but just to give you an idea. So that
Okay.
is,
Captures where
even,
all those pieces of paper, the virtual pieces of paper.
yes, virtual pieces of
Mm,
paper on your desk. There you go.
okay.
There you go. So,
Awesome.
yes. So I always say it has its advantages and disadvantages, that's for sure.
Okay, and does it matter if you, because I did a little bit of research and it does help to some extent if its website is secure, HTTPS?
Yes, it does
Yes. Okay.
definitely help, but
Okay.
you get a situation where if they get hold of the cookie in a unencrypted format, then it didn't really help
Mm,
you much.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, if you want to know anything more about cookies or how to lose weight, you can complete the feedback form, and we can reach out to you. Just about the technology cookies, not losing weight. Just kidding. So I'm going to jump over into my section. I don't have a presentation prepared today. I thought I would just give you a bit of a practical demonstration. I want to talk about two things today, which are tools at your disposal that you can help your organization be more cyber resilient. And it comes down to the end users. So I'm sure Johann will agree with me. And he was talking about the 0-day attacks, which is really what the cyber criminals are bargaining on with our end users, our employees, is when they click, and it's a 0-day attack. And then, you can have the best hardware and software in the world. That's where your organization can be brought to an absolute standstill. So I want to talk about two things that we are doing, or that can be done to help you from an end user perspective. The one thing is what's called attack simulation or fish simulation training. I'm going to just quickly show you how this works on Microsoft's Attack Simulator, but you get a lot of them. You get Know Before. There's a whole list. I can actually go and share them with you. I actually have a list here. I mean, there is loads of them. Obviously, there's some better than others. But the whole idea is that you really do need to have a tool where you actually test you test your end users, your employees, because they pose such a large risk to the organization. So I'm just going to show you a little bit how this works. So from a administrative component, you'll have a dashboard. You'll be able to see the simulations that you've run. Now, these are some simulations that we've run at SALT. And usually you would run, and then when I say a simulation, I mean you actually send a fake email. You send a fake email to the employees of the company, and then you see what they do. Some of them might click, some of them might open, some of them might put in their username and password, but you basically fake that whole attack sequence and see what do your people do with it. And then based on what they do with it, it gives them structured or tailored training as to what they did right and what they did wrong. Mostly, not necessarily what they did right, then they just won't get training, but what they did wrong. So it's going to look at what they did wrong, and it's going to give them training accordingly. So you'll see it just very quickly from a dashboard point of view. We ran a Black Friday 2024 simulation. And this is now a completed simulation. So you see, our people here at SALT are they've actually been overfished. The poor things. They know what they should be looking out for. So this one, for example, didn't do very well, and I'm glad it didn't do very well, because 0 of our users were compromised. So it tells you none of them, one person clicked, and clicking is not always the worst thing, but the supplying of the credentials, that's really bad, because that means they've now entered probably into a fake website, their username and password, and the bad guys now have got that username and password, and they can try to log into the actual work account or bank account or whatever it may be, and they basically can get access to that. So supplier credentials is really bad for our employees to do. Luckily, we didn't have any of that, but it also gives you nice statistics in terms of, did they read the message? Did they delete the message? And then who replied to the message, who forwarded to the message? Obviously, who was out of office, they didn't, get to the message in time. And then what it also does, it gives you a very nice training completion report. So as in, of the people who clicked, for example, there was one, that person did complete their training. So what you want to see over time, I can just go back, is you actually want to see an improvement. So you want them to learn from their experience. Oh dear, let me just go back there. You want them to learn over time from their experience. They're getting better at not doing what they're not supposed to be doing, so less of them are doing it. um, and this is the type of reports that you want to see, is that there is then a reduction in the clicking over time. There's a reduction in the entering of the credentials and so on. So you can run these simulations yourself. The nice thing is, if you have the Microsoft E5 license, you already have this part of your package, and obviously we'd be very happy to assist you to set it up. Currently, it's also set up that way that you just need to license one user with E5, two probably to be safe, people get sick, but then the rest of the organization also gets access to the basic training. So it's very easy to operate. I'll just take you through that. But just to give you an idea from dashboard point of view, you really got a good overview of how are you doing, how are your users doing in terms, for example, of being susceptible to phishing. And you can see over time that we are 8% better than predicted rate, and 14 of our users are less susceptible to phishing. So the training that they get assigned is working, and that's what you want to see. All right, so let me just take you through a very quick setup of a simulation. Now, I'll go here to launch simulation. I'm just going to click on that. You'll see there's different techniques. These different techniques are obviously the different techniques that the cyber criminals use. So credential harvest, that's the harvesting of the username and the password. Malware attachment, they'll attach a piece of malware or supposedly malware. Link in attachment, link to malware. Drive-by URL. There's lots of different ones here, but let's just, for purposes of demo, show you the credential harvest. You give it a name. What's prevalent? Valentine's is on its way. Valentine's Day afternoon off, something like that. Let me say Valentine's Day voucher. We'll do it something like that. Okay. So this is typically what your criminals do, is they look at what's going on in the world, because then it'll make sense to people that they're receiving this kind of email. Then what you can also then next do is you select a payload. You can also create your own payload. So the payload is the email. It's the thing that's being delivered. So they call it a payload, but it's the actual email being delivered. So what they give you, and what the benefit of Microsoft is, they get all of these phishing emails come through a lot of Outlook mailboxes, and a lot of people do report it, or the security picks it up that it's a phishing email. Then Microsoft can, has it marked as such, and they can actually give you a whole list of phish emails that are being used anyway. So you can just use any of those as well, if you just want to do a high level one. But if you really want to go granular and you want to be very specific and you want to really test your users, then you can create your own payload. So if you want to create your payload, you'll say you want to create. You can also do a Teams, as you said. Mine's not enabled, but they have been started just like they do on Zoom and all the other video conferencing and collaboration platform. Sadly, yes, it's not just email phishing, it's phishing all over the place using even WhatsApp, all kinds of things. But in this instance, let's look at an email. We've chosen our technique. We've got a name. Oh, did I not give it a name? I thought I did. Oh, yeah. That was just the simulation. I have to give the actual payload a name. Here I can now configure it as I want to. So I'm going to say it to marketing@sol.na is the email. Oh yeah, here's the email. So I'm going to send it from marketing, and I'm going to say qualify for a 500 voucher on Valentine's Day. Okay, so then I can now select a phishing link. I can do tags, give it a theme, a brand, all that. We can do all that when if you want to take us up on your offer to help you set this up. We can also organize a trial for you if you want to play around with it. But for today, cognizant of time, we're just going to run through this. You can even import an email. So if there is an email already, maybe a previous email that's been sent, you can just import it, or you can actually design the whole email from scratch. And then you can also add wherever there's a phishing link, you can make it look beautiful and legit. And the beauty really of this thing is, I just want to show you very quickly, is a lot of it's copy paste. So if I go here and I can just simply go and paste this in, and it'll retain all the images, everything, so it looks like the real thing. So I'm not going to prepare this entire email. I just wanted to show you as part of the process. But then you can, oh, it doesn't want me to. Let me just go back for now. There we go. Just going to attach one just so I could take you through the process, and you can see how it works. Then you can include specific users. So if you just want to target the finance or the HR department, we want to actually do that because they are the departments that get targeted the most, them and the executives, unfortunately. Or you can do all users in the organization. You can exclude some people, and then you get to the training part. So here you can actually let Microsoft or whoever the provider assign the training. So they'll look at training that addresses the issue that the person did. So if the person was clicking, they'll get training on looking at links. If the person was entering credentials, they'll get training on entering credentials. Or you can select the training courses and modules yourself. You can give the training a due date, and then also create a landing page. That's the page where if they do the clicking, that's the page that pops up and says that, "Hoi, you have now clicked on this email." There we go. Let me just go back. I was a bit quick there. Due date. You've clicked on the email. You can add your company logo, and then says, "But luckily, your trusted ICT team has intercepted this, and you have to do some training." So it gives them that immediate feedback that, "Oops, they've done the wrong thing now." So yeah, and then go next. Then you've got end user notifications, which is either do not deliver, default is what is recommended, and you just go through the process like that. So I'm not going to complete this because I don't want to send a fake phishing simulation out to the salties. I just wanted to take you through the process, but basically once you're done, an email gets sent based on how your users interact with the email. There's actually training that is then assigned to them. They get a regular email notification to complete their training, and from a dashboard point of view, you can then see who's completed the training, who's not completed the training, and so on. Good. Let me just go back there. Okay, let's do that. Okay. I just go back to overview. So here you can then, when you're in the campaign or in your simulation, you can literally go in, you can see who were the users that were assigned training, were they compromised, yes or no, did they report it? We want them to report it. That's how Microsoft and the mail providers actually see what are good mails and bad mails, or fish mails and no fish or non-fish mails. if they were compromised, when were they compromised, or did they report, when they reported, and then other actions. Did they read it? This one deleted the message. So it gives you nice comprehensive reporting. So these are really useful tools. Like a cybersecurity awareness training, I'm going to talk about the offer that we've got currently on the table together with the Ministry of ICT, which is a free cybersecurity awareness training for everybody in Namibia. But that is not something that we have that consistency, which is necessary. So our cybersecurity training is fantastic. I recommend it to anyone. But if you really want to make sure that your end users are tested on a regular basis, I can sincerely recommend that you look at one of these tools. There are free trials available for most of these tools, and we can assist you to acquire such a free trial if it's a know before or it's a attack simulator, whatever your preference is. And we can also assist you free of charge with the setup thereof, take you through step by step and help you set it up. Even if you don't decide not to go through with a free trial, this will at least give you a good baseline of where are you? Where are your employees? Are they putting the company in serious risk? And that you'll be able to see from, did they supply credentials? Did they click? Did they download? What did they do? So that is what I wanted to show you on attack simulation. Maybe I can just quickly pause there and ask everybody if they are good, if I can have some thumbs up. Are we good? Are there any questions so far? Or can I wrap it up with a free cybersecurity awareness training information? Some thumbs would be good. Smiles or hearts work too. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Jacobina. All right. Rita, are we good?
Yes, we are.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. All right. So last but
There was a
definitely
hand
not.
up
Oh, there was a hand up. Sorry.
from Tuliki. I don't know. She put it back down.
Maybe she was just agreeing. Thumbs up. Just hand up, thumbs up. I don't mind. I don't mind either way. Tiliki, are you good? I think she's good. Okay, so let me jump into the last but definitely not least component of today's Brainframe session. Remember that we are there to support you. You can just reach out to us on any one of these issues. Use the feedback form. Tell us what you need, what you require. We'll be sending it on the email as well, so we can, you can indicate if your organization wants to take us up on this offer. This comes to you completely free of charge, as in it will not cost you a cent. We are partners with the Ministry of ICT as part of the National Cybersecurity Strategy and Awareness Raising Plan from 2022 to 2027. We signed a memorandum of understanding in 2021 with the ministry, where we, after attending a stakeholders event, we were the only IT company to put up our hand when the ministry said we need assist with the cybersecurity awareness. So this is the document. Again, I'm very happy to share this document with you if you want to have some nice over weekend reading. I mean, really interesting stuff in here. So I'm happy to share this document, but it basically outlines the entire strategy for Namibia and when it comes to cybersecurity awareness. So part of that, what we then did is we said, well, you know what? We have a lot of customers who suffer a lot of cybercrime incidences. We know end users well. We know people well. That is one of the strengths of SALT is we are very people focused. So we understand how people work, people that work. And we then develop the content for the cybersecurity awareness training sessions. I'll just give you an idea of what it covers. So it is focused on your employees, not your ICT professionals, please. It's not for the technical people. This is for everyone from the receptionist to the CEO. This training is really across the board. We look at things like threats and vulnerabilities on the internet, prevention and resilience to cybersecurity threats, managing cybersecurity threats, building resistance and immunity to cybersecurity threats. And then the last 4 modules, we really focus on phishing because that is the top attack vector. You'll notice there's 8 different sections or components. So our training is, if you do the whole course, it's 4 hours long, but it's broken up into a half an hour sections. So we can either come to your office, we can come physically and come sit there for 4 hours and do this training with your staff, or we can also have it online with Teams, so people from the regions can join, or people that are remote can join, or we can do it completely online. So 4 hours and online. We do have public sessions that are starting the 21st of February on a Friday. That's a link that we'll also share with you, that you can sign up all your employees. They just click on the link to register, and a calendar invite will be added to their calendars every Friday, 10 to 11, for 8 weeks from 21 February. Now, that's if you want to attend the public session. If you want to have a more customized or personal experience with this, we can also have these half-hour sessions or 2-hour sessions, however you want to structure them, just with your staff. Sorry. Okay. So we can come to you physically. We can do hybrid. We can do half-hour sessions. We can do 1-hour sessions once a week for 4 weeks. We are super flexible. And you can also have multiple sessions. We appreciate not everybody in the organization can be in cybersecurity awareness all at the same time. So we are happy to come again and again until 2027, and hopefully then the MOU will be renewed. So it's really good training. It's very practical. It's how to conduct yourself on the internet, focusing more on the human component as to really being technical and looking at all the technical jargon. We teach people how to put multi-factor authentication on their social media. So that, and not to use the same password for social media and work and bank. We take them through all of that, how to do it on your Google account, what to look out for in terms of social media, how to use the internet safely. Because let's face it, that a lot of the things that they do on the internet comes back to the organization. So we have to make sure that our employees are not just safe when they are on our networks, in our buildings, but they've got devices. Johann mentioned it as well. It's being used for games. It's being used for X, Y, Z. So besides for the protection that we as an organization give them in terms of software to protect their devices, Johann was mentioning Intune, that's really brilliant. We also want to give them that freedom to, still have their own personal life and enjoy that on their devices, but then they have to know how to conduct themselves. So this training is specifically to help our employees to conduct themselves safely online. And then, things like teaching them how to build nice, strong passwords, all of that. But what I'll do, we will definitely not cover all of that in our session today. So what you can do is, if you go to the SALT website, on the SALT website, there is under contact, there is the digital security public session section. You can go and have a look there. This was the first public sessions that we did. You will be able to find the recordings of all of this. They are free to watch or download or share amongst the staff. The only thing is that people are not always so big on watching recordings. You don't really have control over it in this way. Whereas with our training sessions that we do, we have attendance registers. You also get a recording, and there is also a test. So afterwards, there is a test that tests their knowledge, which you obviously get the results of. So I want to open the invitation to everyone on the call and beyond. This offer is open to everyone. Make use of it. In the feedback form, I will also have a section on, yes, I'm interested in the free cybersecurity awareness. You are then welcome to indicate that for us, and we will definitely then come back to you and reach out with regards to dates and times and whatever the case may be. So please be aware of that in the feedback form as well. Good. So that was me and our session for today. I hope you enjoyed it and that it was relevant and topical to everyone. I'd like to open the floor now for any questions you may have for me or Johann, any comments, anything from your side. The floor is yours. So maybe what I'll do while we wait for questions or comments, anyone, you can unmute yourself and speak or use the chat. I'll also add the QR code for the feedback form you can scan in with your mobile phone. I promise it's safe. I also put the link to the feedback form in the chat. So you're welcome to engage with us in that way.
Hi, Vanessa.
Grace, hi, Grace. Your hand is up.
Yes, my question is for Mr. Johann. I just wanted to find, maybe it's a stupid question. I wanted to find out how safe is the VPN, for example, for the employees that work remotely from home.
Johan, can you hear us?
Maybe he got hacked.
Sorry, everyone. I think he is muted.
Sorry, team. Technical difficulties. Johan will be with us shortly to answer the question.
Hi.
Johan, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay, so we had a question from Grace. Grace, do you want to repeat that question for Johan?
Yes, Mr. Johann, I just asked how safe is the VPN, especially for the employees that work remotely from home or from other, parts of the country, for example.
Sorry, just repeat it. How safe? Or
How
what was the
safe
question?
how safe is the VPN in case of the employees that maybe are working remotely from home or from another town, whatever the case, and they have to connect through VPN to access the company docs and stuff
Company
like that?
data and company resources. Yeah. Um, good question. Complicated answer. So building, we call it a tunnel. So think of it like a round pipe that you look through, and it's a concrete pipe. So from your machine to your company network is very secure. So that part is very secure over the internet. All right. So you have your PC at home connecting to your office. That connection is almost unbreakable. All right. Question is, that PC that you use at home, is that the one that you build a VPN with, which your children plays games with? Question is, if that is, how safe is it? What's ever on that machine? And it's now directly accessible to your network. That is where the complexity of VPN comes in, because let's call it, if you take it like a pipe or a string, from the one point to the other point, everything in the middle is secure. But what are you transversing over that pipe? And what machine has built that network? And do you, as a system administrator, have control of that machine? Is that your company machine that you use, or is that a machine at home without antivirus that you're now building this VPN tunnel into your network? That is where the complexity of advanced threat detection comes in, whereby the VPN might be built, but you have to have intelligence in your network to pick up, oh, right, this is Grace's username and password. It's Grace's VPN software. Good. But this is not Grace's machine. I'm seeing all sorts of other things in the background. And that is where the complexity comes into. And this is why advanced threat detection has become so important.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that breakdown.
Okay, so thank you very much, everybody. Are there any more questions, any more comments, or can we close the call for today? We good? You can use the chat. You can give me some thumbs,
good.
happiness. We good. Thank you, team. Thank you so much for spending an hour with us on Brainframe Thursday. We'll definitely be sharing some more Brainframes coming up. Watch out for that email. Use the feedback form. Give us some feedback. We really appreciate it. And then we'll see you again, same time, same space at the next Brainframe Thursday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye.
Ma'am, how can I help you? Renee.